your records and I'll torture your words, and I guess you should have thought about that person, everything that makes me wanna remember. I'll leave them in the ashes, leave them in the embers. Leave them in the embers. Bang, bang, boom, better clear the room, 'cause you're pretty dense. If you think that I'm through, you think we're better together and that I'll never do better, well, never say never around me. 'Cause I'll touch your pictures and I'll touch your words, and I guess you should have thought about the first and everything that makes me wanna remember. I'll leave them in the ashes, leave them in the embers. Me out my see the look in my eye means no more us, means goodbye. It means the open road all the way home, with nothing left, nothing left, nothing left but smoke. So I'll touch your pictures and I'll touch your words, and I guess you should have thought about the first and everything that makes me wanna remember. I'll leave them in the ashes, leave them in the embers. Come and wet my body, 'cause my feelings going. Wanna climb my mountain, wrap me a small poem, put my favorite song on, gather all my senses, be my refuge island. Yes, yes, you chose my station. Now we are surfing the channels. Fast forward with all your forces, you might receive every emotion. Yes, yes, nothing's the matter. We are climbing the ladders, flipping.
Hi guys, my name's Toby and today we're going to take you through a live handstand workout. 3 things we're going to focus on is mobility, strength and balance. Obviously we need a mobility to have a nice strong stable handstand, our strength so we don't fall down, and our balance to make sure we're not going to fall over backwards or forwards. First things to note off is to make sure in any of the movements that I teach today that you don't feel any pain in them at all, and that you're going in your own comfort zone. So just hold back a little bit if you feel that you're experiencing pain at any one stage. So make sure you've got enough space around you. It is an equipment-free workout, but if you do have a pillow, a cushion or a towel nearby, that will help you out for a little bit of our balance exercises. And we're going to, if you've got like a chair, a stool or sofa for our progressions, that will help out a little bit. But again, I'll show you stuff that you don't need any equipment for as well, so don't worry about that if you don't have that nearby. And then lastly, I'll be showing these progressions. So if you've just started, you've never even thought about handstand and you've just started, I can show you the first progression. And for those who've had a bit more experience with it, I'll show you some harder progressions. If you're strong in your shoulders, there's some hard shoulder stuff there. If you're weak in your balance, I can start off with the balance exercises first, but you'll see the structure as we go through. And yeah, so let's get started with our first warm up. So we're going to open those shoulders to start with, hands beside you, and we're going to start one at a time. Rotate that hand above and slowly rotate round with the pinky coming through. Breathe through. If you notice, side on, I'm not arching my back, I'm just rotating all the way through. So what I don't want to see is you pulling that back forward like this. I want you to maintain this posterior pelvic tilt. That's squeezing the glutes, squeezing the core all the way around, rotating around, pinky comes through. And rotate back. Again, slow, 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 breathe through, and we're going to switch sides. Good, same principle on our left side. Again, find that end range. If that's there, that's fine. Go back as far as you can. Rotate, rotate round, pinky through, breathe. Rotate, rotate round, and back. Good. And again, slow, steady, controlled. End range, rotate, 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 all the way through, pinky comes through, and round again. Good, slow it down, don't rush. Good, and breathe. Good, the next thing we're gonna focus on protraction and retraction. That is where we're gonna stick the chest up, shoulder blades back, and then round our back there. Good, push forward, pause in each one, shoulder blades back, round the back, breathe, push forward, and back, round, arch, round. Last one, really push forward as much as you can, feel it opening up a little bit more, and relax. Good, our warm-up's so important for our handstand to reduce our chance of any injuries that we might experience. So the next thing, what's really important as well, is we're gonna start warming up our wrists. Obviously, when we get into our balance aspect, we're gonna put a lot of load on our wrists, so we wanna prepare them for that load. So we're gonna come down onto our knees. To start with, you want your hands quite close to your knees, and we're gonna start with some forward leans. And we're just gonna rock forward, keep the arms nice and straight, locked out, and go forward, and we'll just get 5 of these. Again, nice and controlled. If you can go a bit further, go a little bit further. If it's only here, that's okay. And rock forward, good. We're gonna make these little steps in, and we're now going with the palms inward and rock from side to side. Again, really important to make sure these are nice and warm before we do any balance exercises on our hands. Good, next we want to walk all the way out. Do these little steps, that's also going to help with the warm up all the way around, and get the hands a bit closer together, and again, same principle. Make sure you're not feeling any pain, and you just feel a little bit of tightness in your wrists, and it's just stretching them out a little bit. Good, and the final one, if you only can go to here, that's okay, but try and lightly walk around, and then stretching out the forearms, and do a few rocks here as well. Again, light pressure, just to stretch out. Good, and then we'll walk back around to our starting position. Again, you can shuffle the knees out a bit further if you're feeling a little bit more, if they're feeling a little more loose. And then we're going to rotate round and rotate round. Again, just feeling it from that left to right side, and then we're going to rotate the other way. Make sure those arms are nice and straight. Elbows locked out. Good, so your wrist should be feeling nice and warm now. Just to get a bit of pressure release, just hold one hand in the forearm and rotate round. Good, rotate both ways, and then rotate the other way. Good. Perfect. Next bit, we're going to work on our hamstrings. This is really important with the entry into a handstand, that when we get a little bit better and we start kicking up or using the wall, it's much easier to enter, whether that's a split kick or a jump. So it's really important to focus on this. So we're going to start with a good morning. So here, I want you to shift the hips back and feel it in the bulk of the hamstrings, and pause for 2 seconds and come up. Again, for those who are super flexible, keep their legs straight the whole time, but make sure we shift those hips back, and that's where you're really feeling the hamstrings, and come back up. We're gonna get 5 of it. You can have your hands on your chest, wherever you feel most comfortable, a nice straight back. We're not rounding it, keeping it active, and coming up. Breathe. Good, and 1 more, hold. Good. Next, it was the second hamstring exercise. We're going to start working the shoulders a little bit more. It's an inchworm, but it's more of a warm-up. So we really want to take it slow as well. So what we're going to do, put your hands down onto the ground. If you start off here, flat on the ground, that's okay. So you try and get as close as you can where you feel those hamstrings. Heels on the ground if you can as well. And we're just going to walk forward a little bit and then try and walk those feet as close as you can to the hands. Again, if you're only here, that's okay. And then we'll just walk back a little bit again and walk forward. If you can get right close, that's great. Breathe. Good, and slowly come up. Good. Next, we're going to work on to our shoulders and our and our shoulder flexion specifically. So, again, hands by our side, and we're going to raise them up, and then you're going to rotate and look up and try and replicate that handstand position. So nice, slow and controlled. So up like this, and then rotate the hands, look up. Again, same with that starting exercise. From the side, we're not going to see any, I don't want to see any arching, that sort of banana style handstand. We want to keep that pelvis in, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the core up there, look up just to replicate that a little bit. Good, a couple more, breathe, and look up. Slow and controlled, we're not rushing it. Really feel those shoulders opening out. If you're only here, that's okay. Just start from there. But eventually, we want to really try and squeeze, and get back and relax down. Good. Next, we're going to do a child pose, but we're going to intensify that a little bit to make it a bit more shoulder specific. And not going to sit back too much onto our heels. And it's going to look like this. So we're going to put our hands out in front, try and reach out quite far, hands fairly close together. And I want you to sink your head through your shoulders for 5 seconds and really work. Again, posterior pelvic tilt and squeeze. Good, and relax. We've got 2 more times. Really important to squeeze, and you'll feel more of a stretch, stretching out the lat a little bit and our shoulders. And come back out. We've got 1 more. Really take your breaths, compose yourself, and we're going to sink back in. Squeeze. And relax. Good. The last exercise of the warm-up is going to be a body line drill. And this time we're going to prone position, so we're just going to be flat on our front. In a similar vein, I want to get onto those fingertips and sink the head through the shoulders. Again, with that posterior pelvic tilt, I'll keep saying it just because of how important it is. Really want to squeeze that, keep that hollow body position, that nice straight line in our handstand. So, hands out in front, fingertips on, I'll just shuffle myself back. And then out as far as you can, and squeeze, push into the ground. 2, 1, and relax. Got 2 more of these. Breathe. Again, you really want to be working here, pushing those fingers into the ground, head through the shoulders, and squeeze. And relax. 1 more. Get some nose breathing done. Nice oxygen into the lungs, and go. Good. And relax. Good. That's your warm-up done. Just take a drink, have a bit of a rest, and we'll be back with the main workout in 30-40 seconds. Right, so we're going to start with the main workout. This is going to work on our balance, our most technical part of the handstand. So we're going to target from the ground up. And what we're going to start off with is a frog pose and get our balance to get our balance sorted just from the ground. Okay, so how are we going to set up for this? We're going to have our feet slightly wide and the hip apart in sort of a wide squat position. What you can use here, this is where, if you have it, have a pillow, cushion or towel just out in front of you, just to get a little bit over that fear factor if you do rock too far forward, but that will come in handy in the later exercises. So when you squat down, place your hands down in front. Now, what's really important, we're going to bend the elbow. The elbow is going to sink into that upper thigh and just get a nice support for you. Here, we're not going to leave the ground yet. So what we're going to try and do is keep the heels nice and high, and we're going to rock forward and just rock forward. Keep the toes on the floor, just rocking forward. We're just going to start with leans. Not going to rush into it. Again, if you lean too far and your head comes on the ground, that's okay. We'll just try and get back up and rotate. Okay, keep going, breathe, and just do a couple more rocks. Just get used to that weight shift. Okay, one more, and relax. Good, take a bit of a rest. Take a drink if you need it. I'm going to start explaining a little bit the next one, but we won't drop into it just yet. So when we've got our hands on the ground, what we want to make sure is that we've not got them flat on the ground. We're gripping the floor. So when we're gripping the floor, and we're using those fingertips to push you back, and that's going to prevent you from tipping forward. To prevent you from tipping back, you want to try and use, when you're gripping the floor, you've got more angle to stop you from falling backwards, using the palm of your hand and pushing back. So that's going to come really handy now when we're going to lift our feet off the floor, and when you've got your breath back from that first one, and we're going to same setup, nice and wide, hands down, get the elbows, fiddle around the elbows, see what you find is comfortable. I find it nice and tucked in by the thigh and by the knee. Find that thing, grip that floor, and this time I want you to slowly rotate and point the toes. Can you balance? If you fall on your head, okay, that's not a problem. We'll get back up. Try again. And if you rock back, that's okay, try again. And relax, and we'll relax it there. Again, it's important to get these rests in. Obviously I said try, if you fall down after a few seconds, that's okay, get back up a little bit, but we don't want to do that for a minute straight. That's why we're doing this working patterns of 20 seconds on, around 40 to 60 seconds off, and that's just to get that recovery in, so we can try, and we don't want to load the wrists too much, and the shoulders might get a bit tired, so it's important to get the rest, so then we can have a good working set for our next set. So we had the leans to start with, then we had to try and get that balance. Now, for those of you who had experience with this, you might find this all quite easy, so I'll show you another progression. If you say, oh, that's quite new to me, I'm still struggling to get that balance, stick with that progression for now from what I've just shown you, okay? So just do what you're comfortable with, but if you want another progression to get a little bit further, that's what we're gonna do next. Good. So, same setup, going down, but this time I want to get the elbows in the back of the triceps, so back of the upper arms. And this time, again, same pattern, grip the floor, make sure we're gripping the floor, use those fingertips if needed. And we're gonna try and raise up like that. If you fall down, okay, no problem, get back up. That's fine, find that balance, rock down, just find it, hips are higher, and relax. Good, so that's obviously, we're getting our hips even higher, so that's now replicating more of what a handstand will look like. So then we're eventually trying to get into that straight position where our shoulders are stacked above our wrists, hips onto our shoulders, and the feet likewise, so we've got that nice straight line. We've got one more set of the balance to get through. Again, if you found that quite good and you've had experience with that sort of higher frog pose before, we're going to try and move to a crow pose where we're going to try and straighten the arms. So get your breath back, get a drink if you need to, and just a couple more seconds. I'm going to get down to that one as well. So last progression. So we're going to start again with the bent arms, knees back in the triceps, and then I want you to try and see if you can straighten these. Good, and relax. Make sure that your wrists are okay in the position. Again, if you feel any pain, stop straight away. But yeah, you can try again, And we'll go again. So go, and if you're by with those forward leans, the frog poses, that's okay, just keep going with that. Again, come up, straighten them. Good, and relax. Good, and we'll rest there before we're gonna work on our shoulder strength. Give yourself 30 to 40 seconds, rest, and we'll be back with the shoulder strength. Right guys, yeah, so if I'm doing a lot of progressions for you because everyone's got varying abilities. We don't know where you are, how much experience you've had with everything, but you can go back on, obviously this will be on YouTube later, so if you go, oh, that's the stage I'm at, just look at the cues that I've given you, and then you can go, oh, okay, that's what I need to do there as well. So I am going to try and show you a lot of progressions here, but that's just to cater for everyone who's watching of what stage they're at currently as well. Good. So next, we're going to focus on our shoulder strength. Why is our shoulder strength important in handstand? Because obviously when we're upside down, we've got our pushing strength. We're going to be in our vertical pushing, so we don't want to be slouching, we want to be nice and strong and tall. And when we've got all our body weight on top of us, we need to be strong in our pushing position. We're going to go for 3 sets. The first exercise is going to be the easiest version, and then we're going to build up to the normal version and then the harder version towards the end. And the exercise we're going to use for our pushing vertical strength is a pike push-up. So this is where if you don't have a stool or a chair handy, we can just get into a normal pike position and go like this. But I'll just show you the easier version just for people if they have got a chair or sofa nearby, and we're going to raise the hands. Okay, so we're going to place the hands on your stool or whatever objects you have in front of you. And then we're going to walk those toes up. So really try and get those hips nice and high first. And here we're going to push forward to make a triangle with our hands. Keep those elbows in if you can. And we're pushing up and back. What I don't want to see, I don't want you to go up and down like this. We're not doing horizontal pushing of push-ups. I want you to get this head through the shoulders, look through the hands, breathe, and go forward and back. Forward and back. Forward and back, and we're going to rest it there. Good. So that's the easiest version. For those who've got quite good shoulder strength, it might be easy, but if you're here, that's okay. You can practice on it, and to make it harder and harder, you'll just go lower and lower and lower until you reach the ground. Good. So the next version is we're going to be on the floor, and it's going to be a sort of standard pike push-up that you might have seen before in any sort of strength workouts that you've done. Good, and we'll just have another, you still want to rest a good time in between these. Obviously with our strength exercises, we're looking at least sort of a minute, over a minute, just so that we're prepared for the next round as well. So get your breath back and just wait a little bit for the next one. So we're going to walk back down into position. Again, we're not doing a downward dog, so we're not going with the heels on the ground. We want to stack. Again, the same thing. We're trying to get as close as possible. Where we're trying to get our hips over our shoulders. So you want to walk up as high as you feel comfortable with. And now I'm going to start with a partial rep. So you're going to go down, elbows in, and coming up like that. Our full aim is we want the full range of motion, so we want to go all the way to the ground on the tiptoes and push back. Breathe. Good, but if you're only here to start with, that's okay. But what I'd recommend, if we're only there at the moment, you can just raise the height to get that full range of motion, and you'll get the most benefit out of that. So if you're not quite there, don't worry about it. Drop back a little bit, regress it, and then when you get stronger, you can start progressing it as well. For those who've got bolder shoulders and found that easy, we can actually progress it even further. Again, only if you're comfortable with it. And I would say you have to do at least if you've done pike push-ups before, you're getting that full range of motion and it's all quite comfortable. We've got the third and final progression. And if you're still by the raise with the raised hands, that's fine. Just keep doing that while I show the harder progression. Keep with the shoulder thing, whichever stage you're at, and you're building your own strength, and that will come over time. Good, so I'll just set up here. So I'm gonna get my stool back, whether that's your chair or whatever you have there. I'm now gonna place it behind you. So now I'm gonna raise the feet instead of raising the hands. So now, again, we're getting more into this handstand position and we're gonna push ourselves. We've got greater load of pushing ourselves up from the ground. Same principles apply. We're going forward and back, getting the vertical pushing and not this horizontal pushing. Good, 10 more seconds. Getting some nice deep breaths in, get the nose breathing done, get the oxygen into the muscles. Good, okay. Right, I'm gonna put my feet on. Again, this time I want to walk with my hands back to create that nice shape where we've got everything stacked on each other. And again, we're coming to the ground. We really want to try and get all the way to the ground and push through. Push through. Good, and relax. Good. So obviously that's a really difficult exercise. So only if you had experience with that, you can attempt that. But yeah, otherwise you just build up towards it. It will come over time. And then there we're looking about 4 to 6 repetitions and a 2 or 3 sets. So 3 to 4 sets of those. So have a little drink, have a little rest between that one, and next we're going to move into a superset, which is looking at static and our core strength, which will be our final exercise of the day. Good, and to finish our static and core strength, do a bit of a superset here, so one exercise straight after the other. Again, we're going to get in this pike position, and eventually we might get to an elevated one again for those who want a progression of it. And it's so important because obviously that's what a handstand will look like. We're trying to get our hips over our shoulders, just like I've been mentioning before. The second one will be more core related, and we're getting that body line drill again. The other thing I keep mentioning is that posterior pelvic tilt, squeezing the core. We're getting that nice line in that handstand. So that first one, I want to start with that pike position again. Again, make sure we walk the feet up, stand here tall. What I don't want is any shrugging. Really try and push for the ground. Get those shoulders nice and close to your ears. Push through and rock forward, and really try and get as high as you can. And just static strength. So we're just holding it there. Hold, breathe, and relax. Good. The next one is a hollow body, but we're going to regress it to start off with. And we're going to have our knees up and then our hands behind our side to start with. Again, what's important is that we're not got our back on the ground, we've really got it up, and we're just holding it here 15, 20 seconds, squeezing that core. You can keep the knees a little bit higher if you find it difficult. 2, 1, and relax. Good, that's your first round. Again, if you found that quite challenging, then we'll just stick with that pattern, stick with that circuit for the next 2 sets. We've got 2 more. Again, where I'll show a little bit of change on the first one, and the hollow body, we're slowly going to make it more like a hollow body from that inverted position. So again, let's take a drink, Get your breath back before we start the next superset. Good. So for our first one, how you can progress it a little bit is what I was showing you to start with, that we're not shrugging, so you can, it's static strength, but I just want you to, if you're shrugging, just really push forward. So relax a little bit and push forward. So you just remind yourself what that feels like, and you know that you're doing it again. Keep those hips high, push forward, push through, push against the ground. Good, and hold, and relax. Good, next, we've got the hollow body again, but this time, so where hands were here, knees were here, now extend them a little bit, hands higher, upper back still off the ground, and hold here. And we'll start seeing a little bit shaking going on. That's good, we know you're working. Breathe. Again, squeeze that core. 3, 2, 1, done. One more set to get through, we're nearly there. Keep working, keep with me. Again, if you're by the last one, you can regress it. Pull those knees in a bit closer. But other than that, we've just got one set to get through, and I'm just gonna progress them one more time for those who found that fairly comfortable. Bring back the little stool here. Again, just make sure we get that recovery in. Nice deep breaths in through the nose, get all that oxygen in, just so we can recover. Good, just give it another 10, 15 seconds. Good, okay, so I'll just place this here. So what we'll do now is, again, creating more of that handstand position with the stacking on top of each other. We're gonna get back onto our stool. We're not going to go down here, so this time you just want to walk up and try and stack yourself in a nice straight line. Again, and just hold yourself here. Breathe through it. Push nice and tall, don't have the elbows, lock them out. And relax. Again, if you didn't have a stool here nearby, that's fine with a pipe position. Just try and lower those shoulders as much as you can. And we'll get the last little bit done with our hollow body hold, and we're now going to go into the full version. So we started here, brought it up, put the knees back, knees forward, and we're going to come all the way back, but now we're extended fully in the legs, fully in the arms, keeping the upper back off the ground, hold. Keep holding, keep pushing. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. It's definitely worked my core. Good, keep going. And we're gonna just take a drink, a little bit of a pause. And then we're just gonna cool down, relax the central nervous system. And just like how we warmed up, take it through each body part that we've worked through, and then cool down slowly to finish the workout. So we're going to go first to our wrists. So here we're going to do a lot of static stuff because we're cooling down. So similar positions, but we're not rocking them back and forth. So we're going to come to those leans. So wherever you feel comfortable, but just hold that position. Good. And then again, we're going to just take one step in this time, lean to one side. Nice deep breathing, get that breathing back under control. Then rock to the other side. Good, and then I want you to step them back outwards. Again, rock to one side. Rock to the other. Good, and the final one, again, just see what you feel comfortable with. If you're just having a little bit off the ground, that's okay. Try and eventually get the palm to the ground, and then just, obviously easier if you lean forward a little bit. If you lean back, just get that stretch in the forearm, a little bit of the wrist. Good, and then slowly come up, and you can just do those just to relax them off a little bit. Nice deep breaths. Good, and then we're going to finish with that hamstring stretch. So again, with our good morning, we'll shift the hips back. This time we want to hold it here, okay? I'm gonna hold it here for a few seconds, and from here, we're still in that active position. I want to then forward fold, come down, relax, and try and get as close. If we're here, that's okay. We'll work back on and just squeezing and getting down as far as we can. Nice deep breaths. Get the arms hand down. If you're here, that's okay. Good, and relax. And the final one, just for our shoulders, we're going back into our child pose, but again, we're going to relax a little bit more, so we're going to shift back onto our heels. And hands out in front. I'm just going to stay here for 20 seconds to finish off and relax. Nice deep breathing. Good, and come up. Good, there you go, guys. I'll just try and read some of the questions if you've got any. Yeah, it's all right. But yeah, anyway, that's that little glimpse of workout. Obviously a lot of progressions. Let me know if you want to see any more of these or not. Yeah, there we go. So thanks for everyone watching, and yeah, hopefully see you guys soon.